Hello, human beings, and welcome back to your meditation practice. My name is Bee, and as always, it's such a joy to be here with you and use this time together to practice and work on befriending our mind. In our practice today, I would love for us to focus on distraction. Distraction is something that without a doubt happens every time we practice. Whether it's something that happens within us, physically, we experience a sensation, maybe our tummy's growling, maybe we experience pain in the body. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. Or maybe the distraction is in the mind, a thought, something that we just cannot let go of. Or in addition to all that, maybe the distraction is happening outside of us. Our dog starts barking. We hear a horn beeping. When I used to live in New York City, there truly was never a time where my apartment was completely quiet. Over time, we learn that it's less about what's happening outside of us, whether you find yourself on a really serene beach or in the middle of New York City, there's always going to be a distraction. But luckily, in our practice, we can work with distractions. Every distraction we experience is an opportunity to come back to the breath and come back into the present moment. In our practice today, we will work directly hands-on with distraction. And as always, what's really important when we practice meditation is starting off with a bit of non-judgment and compassion, because we absolutely cannot befriend our mind or work with distraction if we have this heaviness of judgment and self-aggression. So we'll open up our practice today, as we always do, by finding a comfortable seat. If you are joining me on the ground, you can sit up on a meditation cushion if you have it, or a pillow. And I would advise that you cross the legs in front of you or tuck the legs behind you. Either way, ideally your hips are above your knees to take pressure off your low back. And as you find your seat, really take your time to settle in. Feel the steadiness of your seat pressing down into whatever is beneath you. And then you'll start to feel your spine get long, but try your best to keep your shoulders relaxed. And then your eyes can close, or your gaze can be cast down toward the floor, just a few feet in front of you. And using the next few moments just to officially settle in. Sometimes I like to start practice by taking a few deep breaths in through the nose, out of the mouth, just to really remind myself that this time is dedicated to practice, and I could be doing something else, but I am choosing to be here. So if that's you, maybe kick off your practice by breathing in through the nose and releasing something out of the mouth. And then from here, the breath just flows in and out of the body naturally, without any resistance or extra force. You're really just in the passenger seat here. The breath is the driver, and the mind is starting to tune into the breath. So no matter what happens during practice, whether it's an internal or external distraction that we face, our breath is the foundation that we keep coming back to. It's our start point, it's our end point, it's our destination, it carries us on our journey. but it is everything when it comes to this practice. And we could really use anything to focus our attention on, but the breath is always there, not just now in our practice, but when we're out in the world, at the grocery store, at dinner, chatting with friends, on a walk with our dog. The breath is always there to come back to. So if we can start to practice focusing our attention onto the breath right now in our meditation, we might be able to do that when we're off of our cushion. So it might be helpful here to just notice where you feel the breath the most in the body. And depending on how long you've been practicing, maybe you notice it at the same place every time, maybe not. But that's always a good gauge of just where you're starting. And as we open up the floor here to really work with distraction, we follow this process of noticing what distracts us. So as we rest here in meditation and try our best to focus on the breath, when we notice that the mind has wandered off, it's no worries, no big deal at all. The first thing that we do is just notice what distracts us. That sound, that thought, that sensation. And then we intentionally let it go. Release it. From there, we return back to the feeling of the breath in the body and start over. So that 4-step process is the recipe to working with distraction. And when we apply self-compassion and non-judgment to those steps, we allow ourselves to show up and be exactly as we are. So again, following step by step, first noticing what distracts you, 2, intentionally letting it go, 3, returning back to the feeling of the breath in the body, 4, start over, begin again. Sometimes I like to imagine that distractions are like a light switch. When we notice them, the light turns on. We then see in the light what it is that caused the mind to be out of this moment right here. And it's not until we bring attention to the distraction that we can make the active choice to turn the light back off. Instead of our goal being to completely blank out the mind or calm the mind, what we're doing is training the mind to work with distraction. So once that light flicks on, we can see what it is we're working with. And then we're more empowered to let it go, turn the light off, and come back to the breath. So using these next few moments in our practice to work with distraction. When it comes up, you notice it, you call it out, it's there, it's not going anywhere unless you choose to let it go. And after you choose to let it go, you have a bit more space to focus your attention onto something else, specifically the breath. So spending just a bit more time right here, redirecting your attention toward the breath as best you can. And as we start to transition out of our meditation practice, just taking a moment to acknowledge the choice you made to be here and the power in working with your mind, working with distraction in a self-compassionate and non-judgmental way. And when you are officially ready to come out of it, you'll open your eyes or raise your gaze, start to come back into the room. Amazing job, everybody. Thank you, as always, for a beautiful practice. And special shout out to Gus for being such a good boy. Sometimes his meditation practice is peaceful. Other times it involves a bit of barking. So thank you, Gus. I hope that you enjoyed today's practice. I release a new meditation every single Monday. So I hope that you'll continue to join me on this journey. If you would like to go deeper into your practice, I offer a monthly and a yearly yoga and meditation membership on my website, which I will link below. And I look forward to seeing you all very soon.